Power and freedom. Welcome to episode 2 of my series where I explore my thoughts and share my experience to my future self. Today I want to talk about two things, freedom and power. It feels like everyone have them, yet they seem so far away. It puts us in confusion. Do they really exist or do they only exist because people refuse to let things go? Today I want to talk about this, and remember, these words are coming from a guy who has been experiencing the world for the past 23 years. I'm sharing my thoughts because I recently had an experience that triggered memories of a few past incidents. Back in my college days, I went on a bike trip to Delhi. While returning, of course, we were exhausted from all the things we had done. Just as we were nearing our return point, our bike suddenly stalled in the middle of traffic, causing a huge blockage. To avoid worsening the situation, I quickly pushed the bike onto the footpath while my friend got down, taking our helmets with him. I tried restarting the bike, and after some effort, I managed to get it running again. Since there was no one in the sight, I decided to ride it for about short distance along the footpath just to clear the congestion. Out of nowhere, a traffic police officer appeared and stopped me. He didn't even warn me or give me a chance to explain. He just caught me and then he asked us for a bribe, which I initially refused as we were only trying to prevent a traffic jam. And there were no pedestrians anywhere nearby too. But he insisted on seizing the bike, so I had no choice but to pay him. And the worst part was, even after taking the bribe, he started lecturing me. At that moment, I felt so angry but couldn't do anything because he could have seized my bike, and I didn't have the time or energy to fight against him. I felt completely powerless. There were many incidents like this, and one day I realized that I was only fighting against the wrong people when I knew they couldn't fight back. I felt ashamed that I only had control over my life until a more powerful person did something wrong to me. Is this how society works? Do we really have no power to fight against people who are out of our league? And coming to my childhood, I saw my dad running his own business. He didn't have to answer to anyone, didn't need to take permissions and live on his own terms. I know he worked hard, but he worked hard for his own dream. Since this was deeply embedded in my mind, now I feel completely chained when I have to go to the office. I have to answer to everyone, take permissions, and think twice or thrice before asking for a day off. Of course, they grant me a day off, but the very idea of having to ask someone, even when I have a genuine reason, makes me feel tied down. It's not about ego, it's about living the life you want. But I also understand that a company can't function if employees are allowed to do whatever they want. Still, how did I end up in this situation? Is it because I have given up on my dream to work for someone else? I remember a long time ago back in college, a close friend once told me, Lakshman, you're really a free soul. At the time, I didn't understand what he meant. And I asked him, bro, what did you say? And he just said, I don't know. I just feel like you can't be bound by any restrictions. Back then I laughed it off, but now I actually understand it. In college, life danced according to my wishes. But once I stepped into the real world, I had to dance to life's tune. Nothing is truly in my hands anymore. I'm not saying I have a depressing or miserable life. In fact, I love my job and I enjoy my life, as I said in the previous video too. But still, these things, freedom and power, feel like they are within my grasp, yet they are so far away. Adding to this, I had a perfectly well maintained bike, and when I took it for its third service, I got my bike completely ruined. The handlebar was misaligned, there was an unusual noise from the engine, and the petrol suddenly started leaking. When I gave it back for repairs again, they have charged me an additional 6,000 rupees. I accepted to pay 5,000 rupees and I refused to pay 1,000 of that, which was a service charge. I refused it because it was clearly due to their negligence that my bike was damaged. I had even seen them drop a bike while servicing it. But when I argued, an employee raised his hand against me. Of course, I shouted back at him. But I couldn't continue the fight for long because I didn't have the time to deal with it because I had to get back to the office or the power to teach him a lesson right there at that moment. I couldn't take a day off to fight for what was right, and I couldn't stand up against them because I had other responsibilities. I'm not saying it's my organization's fault because companies can't function if they give holidays for every personal issue. But this mix of circumstances left me feeling completely struck. And this made me think, are we all just bound by these two things? Are freedom and power just illusions? Or am I overthinking this? Or maybe if I had just let go of the situation, it wouldn't have mattered much in the grand scheme of things. But what if I keep letting go of everything? Letting go of the issues. I might let go of my free soul. I might let go of my dreams. I might let go of myself. Everything. I don't know if I'm overthinking this or if this is the reality we all face. But I feel like there must be someone out there who has found the answers to it. That is one of the reasons why I'm sharing this, to get advice or suggestions from the people who might have different perspective. And also I want my future self to see the path that I have took. Let me know what you think.